You're fighting 200,000 years of evolution just to try and level up. So if you genuinely want to win, you can't keep fighting your biology. Instead, it's trying to recode it. And these four identity shifting habits I'm going to share with you today are going to be the exact steps to help you finally break through. Let's dive into the whiteboard. First and foremost, why identity? Your identity drives your behaviors and actions, and those are the things that are going to produce the results in your life. So if you want change, you need new results, which means you need new behaviors, you need new actions. Next is that your brain will actually filter in and filter out information just to reconfirm your self-image, your identity. So there could be so many little tidbits, little information pieces out there that are right in front of our faces, but we cannot yet grasp them. We cannot yet see them because it doesn't align with who we believe we are. Now, this is something that happened to me personally in my own business. I was stuck for 3 years at a plateau, investing into all the mentorships and programs and strategies, and nothing changed until I changed my identity. Once I did, the information I needed was there all along, but I couldn't even see it before because it wasn't aligned with who I believed I was. Next is that your identity literally runs your life. You cannot run away from your self image. You can stretch enough a little bit, but eventually you always get pulled back over and over and over again. Most people, when they try to change their lives, they try to outperform their identity. They try to take out actions, more and more action, but eventually it leads to self sabotage or burnout because we cannot run away from who we believe we are. Okay, so identity, diving into a little bit about how identity is and how it works, is identity is who I believe I am. So, who you believe you are. Now, how the brain works, a quick little class on this because it's important to know why we're going to go through what we're going through today with these four habits. Your belief systems are the instructions for your brain to follow. Whatever you believe to be true, it doesn't have to be actually universally true, and it doesn't even have to help make your life better. Just whatever you believe to be true, that is the instructions for your brain to then go follow to reconfirm what you already believe to be true in reality. So here's how that works. So let's say you have your beliefs, right? So beliefs such as I'm a worthy person. I am unworthy. Money is evil. Money is hard to make. I am fit and healthy. I am overweight. I have bad eating, whatever it may be. Your beliefs then become the instructions for your brain to follow. That influences everything. Like when I say everything, I mean it influences your self image, it creates your identity, and then your ego protects that. It then influences your focus, what you focus on in life and what you don't focus on. So the information that you research, that you find, that you can absorb. The next thing, it influences your perspective on things. It influences the meaning you assign to situations, which then influences your overall emotional state, how you feel. It influences the definitions that you set upon things, which can either allow you to continue moving forwards and take action or end up giving up, depending on how you define the obstacles that you go through. And then it also influences your actions, which, as we know, produce results. So all of these pieces here lead to one thing, which is the results that you're getting in your personal reality. It is the results that you are getting in your personal reality. So if you want a new future, plain and simple, we need new beliefs. Okay, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a change. So these results, then what do? Is they just go back and reconfirm what we already believe to be true. So that's how we can get stuck in loops. So the first, like for example, maybe you're trying to scale your business right now. For those who don't know, I'm an identity alchemist for six-figure entrepreneurs who have the strategy, but they're stuck at a ceiling, they're self-sabotaging, they're burnt out, and they want to fall back in love in their business again and finally break through their hidden ceiling. And maybe you have an identity right now that aligns where you believe you're only worthy enough to make this certain amount of money. Or maybe you're not worthy. And the version of you who is at that next level is a worthy person. We will continuously reject that new level because it doesn't align with who we believe we are. So the second that we can get aligned with who we already believe we are, once we can start to think, feel, and build the identity as the person we want to be, and we genuinely believe it, the brain must follow those rules. It must go out into reality and create that new future because that becomes the new safety line. That becomes what we accept. This all ties into how the nervous system functions as well. For example, two people could walk into a city, and depending on what you believe to be true, your past experiences and conditioning, you will experience that city in completely different ways. One person might see danger every single where they go and be completely freaked out. The other person might have the time of their lives and see beauty every single place they go. Reality is exactly the same, but both people are experiencing it in completely different ways. Now, imagine if you can experience reality in the best possible way, and you can have develop a self-image that is so positive, so powerful in the best way possible. Imagine how much better your life is going to get. Now that is so doable because who you are right now is only who you think you are, is a construction of your past conditioning and programming, but it's not solidified forever, which means it can change. And once we change the mind, everything else must, not maybe, it must follow through because it's just how we function. The brain is a prediction machine. It's always trying to predict reality. The brain is trying to keep you safe and secure. And how it does that is it takes your programming, again, usually from the past, and it will try to reproduce that over and over and over again. So here's how to change it. So if you're stuck right now in your life where, you have obstacles you're facing, like you have very low confidence, or you have the identity of a low confident or a low self-esteem person. Maybe you have certain beliefs around sales and you're struggling in your business to grow. Maybe you have certain beliefs around your self-worth and you're struggling to expand yourself in life. Whatever it may be, this is how you're going to make this change. If you adopt these 4 consistent habits, you will change your life moving forwards. So, number 1, the habit of awareness. Now, this is the first step and also the most important step because without awareness, we just live in the 95%, which is our subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is where your identity, your ego, your habits, your patterns, your traumas all live. And that's why most of us find ourselves living in loops of life. We get ourselves in the same relationships, we experience the same situations, we go through the same things over and over again. You break through in your business, you self-sabotage. You break through, you self-sabotage, right? Over and over again, the same kind of loops that we find ourselves in. You lose weight, you gain it back. You lose weight, you gain it back. It's all because it's in the subconscious mind. What most people do is they're trying to change the 5%. 5% is the conscious mind. This is where you set plans, you set goals, you create strategies, and you get that motivation to go out and change your life. But if you only focus on the 5%, you will lose every single time because the 95% is what's actually running the show. So step number 1 is we need to be aware. We need to catch ourselves in the act. We need to find what is not aligned anymore with who we're trying to be. What is the patterns that we have in our lives? So here's exactly how you practice the habit of being more aware. Number 1, meditation. Meditation is extremely powerful because it shows you that you are not your thoughts. It allows you to sit in the present moment and practice becoming present. What happens is that your mind will chase thoughts and you can bring yourself back every single time. And the more and more that we develop this skill, what happens is that we stop chasing so many thoughts. We stop identifying so deeply with thoughts. And as soon as we do that, we promote awareness and we can start to make changes. 2 is being the observer. So what I mean by this is really ingraining in the mind that I am not my thoughts and my emotions are just messages. They're just signals coming from something inside. And the more and more that we cannot, the more and more that we don't identify with our thoughts and look at ourselves as a receiver of thoughts and emotions, then we can start to promote change. So the observer is the one beyond thought. It is the one who is seeing the thoughts come in. And then what happens is we react to those thoughts. The practice is taking that gap and not reacting to those thoughts so much and just practicing observing all for how it is instead of putting judgment and labels upon things. Just practice observing what is. So when you see animals, people, your mind instantly tries to fit into a box. Try to remove that step. Try to take a step back and practice just observing it for what it is. Next, being more present, being in the present moment, because when you're in the mind, you're either in the past or the future. But when you're in the present, all there is right here and right now. And the more and more that we practice being in the present, the more that we can actually catch ourselves when we're not in the present moment. Because here's the crazy thing. Your brain doesn't know the difference between reality or imagination. So as you think about a certain situation and it's making you feel super upset and worried about the future and your bills and whatever it may be, you're experiencing that in real time. Your nervous system is getting attuned to that. That's becoming your default state. That's literally what you're going to start attracting into your life. And again, you experience it in real time. So the more that we can just be present, we stop playing those scenarios, and also the more we be present, we can catch ourselves in those scenarios and again start to promote new change. Next is stop reacting. Next time you get cut off in traffic, aim to not flip them off. Aim to take a deep breath, observe it for how it is, and then decide differently. Do you want to be the angry person? Do you want to be the person who reacts every time? If so, you should know that then that person has more power over you. They're controlling your emotions. We don't want that, right? We don't want that. So practice to stop reacting because reaction is the ego. The ego is jumping in to protect the identity. Here's an example. Let's say you have the identity of a smart person, and then someone comes along and says, hey, your idea sucks. Your idea is stupid. Immediately, the ego hates that and it wants to jump in and react to them and swear at them or say mean things or fight them or whatever it may be. The reason why is because the ego is trying to protect the identity. And sometimes there's an underlying fear of like, well, what if that person's actually true? So the ego hates that. So the goal, don't even react to it. Let them say whatever they want. Know who you are. All right, next is practice listening more and talking less. Okay, listening more and talking less. And that's also just a good practice of practicing being aware. All right, so that is number one, is getting into the habit of awareness. It's needed. Example, okay, so let's say you're stuck in a pattern, right, where you try to change your life, identity mismatch happens, you start to self-sabotage, back to square one over and over again. With awareness, though, you can catch that pattern, so then you can actually start to promote change in your life. All right, daily/weekly reflection number 2. This is one that's very, 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 very powerful. The faster that you can catch yourself in those patterns, the faster that you can catch your bad habits, the faster you're going to change your life. Because if not, what happens? Well, we just end up repeating them over and over and over again. If you don't believe me, look at New Year's resolutions. Over 90% of people fail to a change when it comes to New Year's resolutions. Why? Because we think that our conscious mind is going to promote the change itself, but we don't change internally. We don't change the subconscious mind. And if we don't change that, no change actually happens. Eventually, we burn out, we lose focus, we self-sabotage, back to square one. So, daily, weekly reflection, extremely important. I got a book right there to my left that I reflect on consistently. And here's what we want to go through. So, number one is know who/how you want to be. It's very important to have a vision in mind of who or how you want to be, being crystal clear on what that looks like. Because then you can catch yourself acting out of alignment. Okay, so here's an example, right? You have your goal self written down. So my goal self is very positive, they're very confident, and they have a lot more money. All right, awesome. Now, what did I do this week that wasn't in alignment with this new state? Well, I noticed I have consistent negative thoughts about my skills and my ability to level up my life. Okay, well, that's not in alignment. That's not who I want to be and how I want to be. So that is the old programming that needs to be changed. Write that down. Next, I notice I'm consistently overthinking. Overthinking is a form of self-sabotage. Okay, so I'm overthinking what I want to do. That's not confidence. That's not the confidence that I want. Okay, write that down. Next, I have these bills that I've been neglecting. I'm not facing. I'm not calling the bank. I'm not calling the tax people to get it figured out. Instead, I'm just neglecting it, and that doesn't feel good. That's not how I want to be. That's not the relationship I want with my money. Awesome. When you do this, you're now getting very clear on the old programming that you want to actually change in your life. And the more and more that you reflect weekly or daily, the more you can find these actual patterns. Because remember, a pattern, or I should say a habit, the definition of a habit is an unconscious pattern. Keyword is unconscious, which means you do not know it's there. So a lot of us have unhealthy habits and patterns that we're repeating over and over and over again. It can be thought patterns, feelings, it can be actions. We have these patterns that we don't even know are there. It's kind of crazy to think about, right? Like I might have a bad habit or pattern that I do that does not serve me and I don't even know it's there. But it's in the background, right? It's in the subconscious mind. My brain's conserving energy. This is the path of least resistance. If I take this path, I know I'll be safe, secure. I'll get a reward out of it because again, habit has a trigger, action, reward, whatever it may be. So awareness helps you catch that, but this is really going to help you get very, very crystal clear on it as well. All right. So that is number 2, is getting in the habit of the daily or weekly reflection and being clear on who you want to be and how you're being now and what isn't in alignment. And I should say too, that once a habit is caught, it no longer is a habit. It is now a decision to continue to act that way. And now we can start to question, well, why would I continue to act that way if it's not who I want to be? Now we're getting close to the root. Number three. Number three is create the state and then act. When I say state, I mean step into. So it depends on what language you like. I could say step into the frequency of the person you want to be. Frequency, as in what I frequently see, what I attract into my life, the law of attraction. Or you can tie it into identity. State is your most dominant emotional state of being. Okay, state is your identity, how you overall dominant thoughts and the dominant feelings that you have. That is how identity is created. Identity is created through consistent thoughts and emotions held over time. Neurons that fire together will eventually wire together. Okay, so as I think, I become because I start to believe it. So your state, you want to step into the state of how you would be as if you're already at your goal at the level that you want to be at. So you want to genuinely start to think and feel as if you are them now. Adopt that identity in real time. Then after you're stepping into that state, you want to take the next aligned action. What if I'm in this state now and I feel this way? What is the next one thing that I should do? And that then proves change, because once you start acting as the person you want to be, you start to rewire your brain in real time. You start to show yourself, this is who I actually am. People who feel that inner resistance and feel that inner grit is oftentimes because they try to think and feel as the person they want to be, but they're not acting. And then there's that resistance. We feel like a fraud or fake. So action proves change. All right. And action promotes results. It creates results. So when we start to think and feel as the person we want to be, and we take action from that, now we're aligned with the identity we actually want to have. Here's how to do it. So how you want to do it every morning, we'll say, is you do a little meditation and you want to visualize a happy, a rich, excited moment in your life. Maybe if you're in business, the first month that you've ever made $10,000. Maybe you want to lose weight. Maybe it's the first time you ever lost 10 pounds, or you hit a record in the gym, or you went on a date one time and the person complimented you so much you had the best time ever. You're completely in flow. Think of a happy, rich, excited moment, and then you want to genuinely feel it inside. So hold that visualization until you genuinely feel it inside. After you're in that state, so now you're feeling it, now you're thinking about it, you're really getting worked up. Now then you want to shift the visualization to picturing yourself at your goal, at your new identity. Now you're activating this new state because you're thinking about the new state, and now the emotion is tied into it. So the brain is actually experiencing it in real time. So this is becoming a part of your new baseline, a part of your nervous system will actually start to accept it rather than reject it. So the more and more that you stay there, you live there, and you be there, the faster you genuinely become it as well. Pretty magical. And then after you're in that state, once you're charged up, then you just take the next aligned actions and repeat over and over again. So aligned action as a person you want to be. That is the next habit, number 3. And then as you do this and you repeat, because what's going to happen is you get into that state, you take action, eventually resistance is going to pop up. This is the old ego, the old identity screaming for survival, because you're acting one way, but who you used to believe you are is acting or is another way. And that's that mismatch. And that's exactly what I help six-figure entrepreneurs break through so they can level up in their lives. Now, moving down. Number 4, the last one for today is trust building. This is a pro tip here I'm going to share with you today. Most people give up not because they're not good enough, not because they lack skill or time or discipline. It's because they give up in the void. Okay, the animal self takes over too much and we retreat, we collapse back, right? We get snapped back to our old ways of being. Why does this happen? Think of yourself as a caterpillar for a moment, okay? You're here in step 1. I want change in my life. I have this desire. This inner pull is pulling me towards change. Then you step into the cocoon. This is the void, okay? In the cocoon, you are melting away. You don't know what's going on. You're completely lost. Things are so unpredictable. An entire change is happening in your life. So your old identity, your ego is screaming for survival because, again, ego's job is to protect identity. The brain hates change because the brain loves predictability because it wants to be safe and secure. All that's changing now. So your animal self, the animal inside of us, is starting to scream and freak out. Okay, and it wants to retreat back to the comfort zone. This is where you need to build trust, because here's the thing about trust is that you never lack trust. You just trust in one thing over the other thing. So the key here as you're in the cocoon stage is you need to calm the body. Okay, so you can calm the body, exhaust your body, tame the mind is what Dan Martell always says. So you want to really calm your state, really calm your nervous system, get yourself into a safe state, and then decide what you're trusting in. Are you trusting in yourself that you're on the right path, that you're going to make the change, that if you are on the wrong path, you will adapt, but no matter what, you're going to get to that goal? Is that the mindset you have? Or are you saying, I'm going to try. I hope I can make it this time. I hope it works out. I hope this plan works. Or are you trusting that it's not going to work out? It's probably not going to work. I tried this so many times. It never works out for me. I can't seem to ever change. You never lack trust. You just trust in one thing over the other. So why not put all of your trust in yourself that you're going to get there? Because here's the thing. Once you come out of that void, is that beautiful butterfly that you've been dying to become. It's that beautiful butterfly that's been waiting for you this entire time. Let me give you one more example. Imagine that you have an iPhone, let's say iPhone from 2015, all right, really old iPhone, and you have a 2026 iPhone now, and you're trying to, or sorry, you have an iPhone from 2015, and you try to download an update onto that 2015 iPhone in 2026. What's going to happen? You don't have enough storage. The software, the phone cannot handle it. So what do? You don't force the phone, you upgrade the phone. Once you upgrade the phone, it can handle the next update. Now replace phone with identity. Your identity is at a cap right now. If you want to level up, you need to shift your identity. You need to align your identity so it has the capacity to handle the next level of success that you want in your life. Okay, and that's that beautiful butterfly moment. So again, the void, what you should know is when there's no results yet, because your reality is still reflecting your past actions, habits, behaviors, etc. Right? So that's why it's the void, because there's no actual quick changes, and people love that short-term fix, right? We order off Amazon, we get it the next day. Our delayed gratification muscle isn't as built. So reality is always going to reflect your past. So this is why when you first start to change, you got to realize, like, I got to be a little delusional here, because right now my results are just reflecting who I used to be, but it's not who I am now. And then also, again, that animal self is going to have that fear in the unknown. All right. So when you are changing, it's not predictable and the ego screams the loudest. So here's the fix for you today. All right. The how. Number one, daily or weekly evidence. Every single day, every single week, finding evidence for this new self that you're on the right path. Train your brain that way. Number two, daily actions of the new self. Actions will eventually produce results. Actions help show you who you are becoming. Number three, understand, trust, and decide wisely, like I just explained. Number four, don't react to what is. Do your part. Okay, don't react to the outputs in your life right now. Do your part. What's your part? You can act, you can control your attitude, you can control your focus. You can do those things. And guess what? Those all produce results in life. So eventually, when I smile, the mirror smiles back. I don't wait for the mirror to smile. What I mean by that is, like, you don't wait for your reality to change. You change, and then eventually your reality will start to reflect it. So number five is study and absorb info daily. This has helped me drastically. Like when I was going through this, and as I go through these changes, I watch and absorb information and videos around the people I want to be and the proof behind it every single day, nonstop. Like over and over and over again, I'm just programming into my mind. I'm just downloading that information nonstop. That's all I want to focus on. I don't want to focus on the negatives or why it can't happen. That is not needed. I am just fully obsessively focused on downloading the information that aligns with who I'm becoming. And that helps so much. That makes me feel super safe, secure, and reassurance that I'm on the right path. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the training for today. That is the training for today. One more example, and just to drive this home for you on how you're not stuck the way you are. Think of an identity of an athlete. If there was a professional athlete who woke up tomorrow and they were overweight by 50 pounds, they would set a world record for how quickly they would lose that 50 pounds. Why? Because it's their identity. It's not because they have the best strategy. No, they're going to figure out the strategy because they are the person that aligns with that image they have in their mind, that goal. So they're going to run towards it. They're going to make it happen because they truly believe they deserve it. It's who they are. If they had that extra weight, they'd be like, this is not me. This is not who I am. I know this is not who I am. And they're immediately going to act differently to get different results. That can happen to you too. Either if you're broke, if you're single, if you're struggling in life right now, you can change yourself to then change your personal reality in the end. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching and being here. Now, one quick thing, make sure you like and subscribe if this training today did help you level up or understand yourself more. And secondly, if you want help, if you're an established six-figure entrepreneur who wants to break their hidden ceiling, who wants to end the self-sabotage, end the burnout, and actually scale your business and grow your business to the next level, you can apply for help down below to see if we're a good fit together. It's one-to-one coaching. You're not working with a team or anything. This is specifically for one-to-one coaching with me. Thank you so much for being here, guys, and I will see you on the next training.